Okay, so everyone can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, awesome. So welcome everyone to Creative Boost, Get Your Message Heard with Shinjini Sur. And my name is Mona. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager at WorkInCulture. And before we begin, I'd like to tell you a bit about WorkInCulture, if you're not already familiar with us, as well as our Work Smart series, our Creative Boost series, and a few housekeeping notes. So I mentioned a little bit earlier that, feel free to keep your cameras on or off, whatever you're comfortable with. I will ask you to keep your mics off for now, and I have muted everyone here so that we can do the introductions and then Shin can go on with her presentation. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please type it in the chat box. You'll see a little icon for the chat box, and then you're welcome to just use that at any time so that you don't forget your questions during the presentation. And then Shin will either get to it right away or we'll save it to the very end to answer. And then at the end, please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and hopefully we'll see some more faces as well, and we can have a little discussion. So aside from the mic and the camera, there is a AI live streaming caption for those of you who feel comfortable or feel like that it's helpful to read what we're saying. You can click on the live little box. It's like a little arrow at the very top left-hand corner. And if you click on that arrow, it opens up a new tab that shows the live captioning. And if that's helpful for you, you can use that. If you prefer it the way it is, just leave that part alone. And so that's the live captioning. And what else? So we are recording this and it will be available on our website and also on our YouTube channel. So you can visit it or share it with anyone else that you think might find this helpful. So a little bit about WorkInCulture. So we are a nonprofit arts service organization that supports the professional lives of artists, creatives, and cultural workers. So please visit our website to learn more about the various free resources that we provide, like our job board and discovery board, as well as previously recorded webinars. Our office is located in Toronto, the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the home to many diverse Indigenous peoples. We recognize and respect the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and the Inuit people whose land we work and reside on. So Creative Boost is a WorkInCulture series that teaches skills related to business planning and entrepreneurship. And today's webinar is specifically focused on marketing skills. So Shinjini is gonna talk a little bit more about that. And if you're interested in other similar webinars, as I mentioned earlier, you can check them out on our website or our YouTube channel, or please subscribe to our newsletter through our website and you'll learn about any upcoming Creative Boost webinars. And I'd like to now present our presenter, Shinjini, who also is known as Shin. She is an energetic mindset architect and visual artist. She found her obsession of human optimization and mindset mastery after 6 years in the corporate world. Today, she researches and practices human optimization and creates a space to exercise our minds. Currently, she refines her craft through her businesses, The Great Kind and Butternutbutternut. With over 5 years of experience in brand marketing at L'Oreal and PepsiCo, she has a deep understanding of how to connect with others through emotional storytelling. Shin's mission is to help shape and articulate your value proposition so that together we raise our collective potential. Thanks so much, Shin, for being here. And I'm going to stop my slide so you can share yours. And I will hand it off to you. You're on mute. Oh, I guess I have to unmute you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's do this. Let's go here. Can you see my slides? Yeah? Amazing. And you can hear me. Fantastic. So thank you, Mona, for that introduction. That was very nice and warm. So this is my first Work in Culture workshop. I'm really excited for it. And as you guys can see, get your message heard. So that's what we're talking about today. We're gonna help you figure out how to get your message heard. Now, we have a lot to cover today. Okay. We're going to talk about the marketing funnel. I'm going to share strategies with you. And if I'm going quick, please feel free to use the chat. So ask me to re-explain things if needed. If you have your own personal questions that you're like, how does this apply to my business specifically? Please type that into the chat. I don't want your questions to go unanswered. So yes, there is a small chat icon and then just click it. And feel free to type away, comment, all of that kind of stuff. I will ask you questions as well. So this is going to be interactive. If you don't participate, I'm gonna pick people out. Okay, just saying. All right. So in order to get your message heard, you first have to get your message seen. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is a marketing funnel. It's the first theory coming in hot right at you. So basically, this is what it looks like. Ooh. It's loading. Okay, so it's an upside down funnel, as you can see, right? Now, the reason it's upside down is because people are coming from the top, and then the number of people reduces as they go through the funnel. So at the top of the funnel here, we're going to go one by one. We have awareness. Okay. Now, awareness essentially means that people are aware of you. They know that you exist. So right now, you know that there's a girl called Shin. She hosts something called The Great Kind, and that's it, right? But that's awareness. You are now aware, okay? So now if I take you to the next part of the funnel, that is consideration. Consideration means you are considering a little bit more. You may be like, do I want to build a relationship here? I'm kind of intrigued. Let me check out a bit more. So you're considering this person or this business a little bit more than just being aware of it, okay? Then we have conversion. Conversion is the moment of truth. This is when people are putting their dollar against your product or service, or they're signing up for your community, or they're signing up for your newsletter, whatever that conversion piece looks like for you, but now they are committed in a way, okay? And finally, at the end, we have retention and loyalty at the bottom there. And that essentially means that people are so loyal to you now that they're either sharing about you or you're retaining them as future clients. So they keep coming back to you. Okay. Any questions? Hit me up in the chat. Awesome. So what I would love to do now is I would love for you guys to think about for yourselves on social media, who do you think is doing a good job? And I would love for you to give me some examples in the chat, because what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to look them up and we're going to put our marketing hats on and we're going to critique. We're going to see like, hey, is this post an awareness post? Is it a consideration post? Is it a conversion post? Is it a retention and loyalty post? Okay. So who do you think on social media is doing a really good job? And for the sake of today, let's stick to Instagram. I'll pull them up on Instagram. So for yourself, when you're on Instagram or you're on Facebook, whose content are you consuming? Let's type in some names into the chat. I'll give you guys 5 seconds. Lady Oyster. Okay, we got our first one. Let's go. Lady Oyster. Lady_oyster. We're going to go with the first one. Is it this one? Virginia Schaffer, Lady Oyster, a tribute to oysters and their precious contribution to the world. Okay, so oyster specialist, let's say. Okay, very cool. We're going to click let's click this post and let's read it. Okay. What's behind a Dingley Cove oyster? I hope I'm saying that right. Doesn't matter. Swipe right. And then she tags another account here and says, we're started by Peter Rand. Shown here is a beautiful native Mainer and has been inspired by the sea and his life. We dropped by the boat last weekend. Okay, so a nice little story, a nice little long story. So that's great. Okay, that's a post. Now I would love for you guys. So we see this post, it's a picture of an oyster, and she's asking you the question, what's behind this Dingley Cove oyster? Okay. And we can swipe to see videos of more oyster related environmental images and where it comes from. Awesome. So now let's look here. Where in the funnel do you think this is? Guesses. No right or wrong answer. We're practicing, right? So let's take some guesses. Is this awareness? Is she just trying to make you aware of these oysters? Is this consideration? Is she maybe asking you to consider buying these type of oysters? Or is it conversion? Is she linking you somewhere so that you can go actually get your hands on these oysters? What would you guys say this is? Yeah, we have Adnan saying it's awareness. Great. Yes. Anyone else? Any other guesses? Consideration. Okay. Yep. Awareness. Anyone else? Consideration, awareness. Awesome. A tiny bit of consideration. Yeah. So I love. Okay. So it depends on where you are from a consumer standpoint. So right now we are consumers, but we're also critiquing as marketers, right? So as a consumer of that content, if you don't know anything about oysters, you're probably coming at it from an awareness perspective, right? Like, I don't know anything about Dingley Cove. Tell me more about it. But if you already know a little bit about it, or you've consumed oysters in the past, then for you, you might be in the consideration phase already. So absolutely awareness and a tiny bit of consideration. Excellent. You guys are already rocking and rolling. Okay, let's see if we have another suggestion. We have Shopify. Okay, let's go for Shopify. Let's go from Lady Oyster to big company of Shopify. And let's see how they do it differently. Let's go with the first one. Okay, Shopify, picture of two ladies, and it says, not going to lie, it was hard. We had a lot of ups and downs, but we've gotten through it all and grown closer because of it. Okay. And this is pretty much a verbatim quote that we see. So let's just read the first paragraph here, and then we'll read the last paragraph. I worked at a health food store for 6 years. I grew a lot during that time. I was at the top of where I could actually be. I couldn't become the general manager, and I couldn't become the owner. My friends and my family were always like, open your own health food store. And although it was an intriguing thought, I didn't know how I could make it happen. Let's read at the end. In that moment, we went from being in a new relationship to being business partners. Not going to lie, it was hard. And then it's the same quote from down here. So here we have all of their handles. And we have Startup and Slay, which is the name of their company, founded by How She Hustles. So click on their @links to learn more ways about how they empower women entrepreneurs. Okay, a lot of information came at us. Where do you think we are in the funnel? There was a lot. It was a personal story. There were a lot of tags for us to click. And they talked about a personal relationship that they built. I'm not sure how Shopify played a role. I'm guessing both of them use Shopify for their business, but Shopify was really highlighting these two women. So from a Shopify perspective, what are they trying to do? Are they just creating awareness? Like, hey, these are the people that we support. Are they asking you to consider working with them because they're highlighting their employees, or not employees, I guess, clients? Are they trying to convert you to buy Shopify, to work with Shopify? Or are they building retention and loyalty? Where do you think this is? Awareness, consideration, conversion. Yeah. We got Banaf Shea. That's a cool name. I'm probably butchering it, but you can correct me.
Yeah. You just said it correctly.
I did. Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, what else? What else do we have? Does everybody agree? Do you think it's all of the above? Because it's a lot. It's a lot. And I mean, this is kind of a catch-all post because they are trying to convert you to click on those links, to click on the client's links. But from a Shopify perspective, they're not necessarily converting you to become a Shopify consumer. Okay. They're trying to build their portfolio. They're kind of doing a generosity play here, right? So I think this would be a little bit of retention and loyalty even. Okay. So they're trying to show you that, hey, if you work with us, we're loyal to you. And in showing that, hopefully they're expecting some of that reciprocation. So we have May saying, I think it's all of them. If it is a Shopify partner sees this post, it is retention. Yeah, I think May, you hit it on the nose. It absolutely is all of them, especially depending on where you are on your consumer journey with Shopify. Okay. So if you've seen Shopify before, you'd be like, okay, I'm considering doing business with you. And maybe this post gets you converted because you resonate with May, was it? No, May is the person who just commented here. Oh my God, what was this individual's name? Let's see. I want to get it right. It was, there's no names. No names. Great. Just garden health, vitamins. Okay, fantastic. Anyways, you guys get it. I'm going to move on. But what I want us to do now that you understand the funnel, is always have this mindset on for yourself when you look at other people who are in your industry or other creators who you are inspired by. What are they doing from a content perspective, and how are they creating awareness for their posts, consideration for their products, conversion for their products, or getting loyalty? And that's going to give you a lot of inspiration because there's no cookie cutting answer to how to do each of these things perfectly. You've got to flex your own style as well. Okay. Amazing. I got some more people here to check out. So maybe if we have time at the end, we'll check them out. But thank you guys. Keep them coming. Awesome. So that was a little bit of an exercise just to get our brain fluids flowing. And what you guys did so amazingly was when you signed up for this webinar, you let me know what you're hoping to learn. Fantastic. So most of you wanted to learn overall marketing tips and tricks, which we absolutely will share today. And a lot of you were in the awareness camp, which we will also talk a lot about today. We are going to talk about consideration and conversion, but we're not necessarily going to spend too much time there just because we could be talking about this for hours, days even. So if you have questions specific to any of these when we are in those sections, please put them in the chat. Okay. With that said, let's kick it off with awareness. Now, I want you from now on to think of yourselves as content creators. Okay. So apart from being business owners, or apart from being personalities on the internet, whatever it is that you're trying to push out there for yourself, either yourself as a personality or your product or service, you are in the attention economy. Okay. Every single one of us is fighting for that consumer attention. So it's almost like a battlefield of sorts. And there are many ways to get attention, right? We could do it in short-term blips where you get a lot of followers, a lot of comments in a short period of time. Or we could do it in a sustainable long-term way where it's slow and steady, predictable growth. Now, personally, I prefer the slow and steady method. Why? Because it's a lot more reliable, and the people that you get, they're not there for fake fluff reasons. They're actually there for you. They're actually there for your product. Okay. So you're building long-term sustainability for your brand instead of those quick, short-term, gimmicky sort of tactics. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to build a long-term sustainable brand. Okay. With that said, think about the number of notifications you get on your devices per day. I shared this, concept with university students, and they were like, "Oh, we get easily 300 notifications a day." Wow, 300 notifications a day on your phone, just your phone, right? And then you have a smartwatch, you have iPads, you've got desktops. It's absolutely insane the amount of content people are bombarded with. So for you as a business owner trying to get your stuff out there, you're going to have to break through the clutter. Right? And not only that, but you have to grab their attention while you're at it in a short period of time, because they're going like this, right? You're trying to get that thumb to stop, pause on you, and hopefully comment, hopefully share, hopefully save, hopefully do something to engage, right? So it's a lot. Attention is a very difficult economy to survive in for sure, and attention is pricey, right? You can pay dollars for it if you like. We're going to talk a lot about organic reach today, not paid reach. If you have the cash, dash out the cash for sure. Go on and do some paid reach. Paid reach essentially means that you're paying to reach people. Okay. Organic reach means you're not paying to reach people. You're going to use the different mediums that are available to you to reach people. Okay. So attention is pricey, but when you do get it, you have to have something to say. You have to have something important to say or valuable to say. So the only way for you to internalize this is to ask yourself the question of what value am I providing? That is the number one question you need to ask yourself when you are playing in the online space. Actually, as a business in general, right? Like, what value am I providing? Why are people going to be consuming your stuff? And this is not just your business proposition, right? Like when you think about marketing your content, it's about your content proposition. Why are people going to watch your stuff? Why are people going to like and engage with your stuff? Why are people going to follow you? What value are you providing? So is it entertainment? Is it education? Is it inspiration? Are you showing them how you solve their problem? What value are you providing? If you don't have a value today that you're providing, you are not at all going to have anything important enough to say for somebody to linger for more than 2 seconds, because that is the average attention span online, 2 seconds. Okay, now the more you give, the more people will give back. I promise you that is how it works. So the the strategy for you is I want you to think of yourself as a thought leader in your niche. Okay, whatever your niche is. If it's dance, how are you the thought leader of dance? If it's oysters, right? How are you the thought leader of oysters? And by thought leader, I don't mean bombarding them with information. I mean being the go-to person of that niche. So now if somebody for any reason thinks about dance, they think about you. For me, so the Great Kind, what we do is we're all about exercising your mind on your pursuit to greatness. So if anybody thinks about mindset mastery, if anybody thinks about how to master their mind, how to get better habits, they think of me. That's my goal. I want to be synonymous with stuff like that. Okay. So that's exactly what you are trying to do. You're trying to shape yourself as that individual who is a thought leader in your niche. Okay. Any questions? Hit me up in the chat. Awesome. So you're going out there, you're feeling good. You're like, I'm going to be a thought leader in my niche. This is fantastic. And then you don't get any likes. And I get it. I've been there. I feel your pain. It's hard. It can be very discouraging when you're out there giving yourself this amazing motivational boost. And then you go out there and nobody likes your stuff. I can tell you this for a fact. I've posted posts before where the only person who commented was my mom. Okay. So like, thank you, Mom. I appreciate you so much. But hey, I don't know how many more people are going to comment on that just because they now know that my mom's the only one commenting on that. But either way, the more saturated a channel is, so like Instagram, very saturated, Facebook, very saturated. The more saturated a channel is, the more time you're going to need for your content to build up momentum, for your content to get noticed, okay? But I promise you, eventually you will hear feedback and eventually you will get insights. People will give you feedback, okay? So we have a question from Debbie. She's saying, I have a value proposition, but how do you express your value proposition with each post? Very good question. So Debbie, can you actually unmute yourself and tell me a little bit about what your value proposition is? That way I can give you better answers.
Well, I think it is. What I did was worked to develop my tagline. And because it's art and COVID happened and all of that, I have it's to enhance your space with a story.
Okay.
It makes the art different because it's not
amazing
necessarily.
Amazing. It's okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. So now what you can do, each post can feature an art within a space. Okay. And you can write in the post how it enhances your story. That's what you said it was, right? Your tagline, how it enhances your space or how it enhances your story.
Right. I start the story and then so people can finish it.
Yeah. And so maybe you can have like, okay. I would like you to take more ownership there, because people are not going to finish the story for you. They're not engaged enough to want to finish that story for you. So you have to do the heavy lifting for them, okay? So if this is the amazing vision, you are the only person who sees that vision right now, right? Maybe. I have no idea. You might have 100,000 followers. I have no clue, right? But you have to you have to do that heavy lifting to create that story for them and show them the vision. So eventually, say now you've done 100 posts where you've posted art within a space and you've written a little story. And the story does not have to be long. I would prefer it not to be long, maybe like 3 sentences, okay, 4 sentences. And then on your 101st post, then you say, this is how the story starts, ... How do you finish it? That's when you're now asking for engagement. Now people have seen what you're about. You've posted enough times for people to know how you're operating. And now you can ask for that engagement. But to expect that in the 1st or 5th or 10th, not realistic. You're going to get very few engagement. So that's what I would suggest for you. Okay. And then there's obviously one like tiny way that it could come to life. I'm sure you being in art, being a creative, I'm sure you can find a lot of different ways, but essentially, and we have some more examples for you. So I hope that will inspire you a little bit more. Okay. Now here's the thing. Sometimes we say internally that 0 interaction means 0 impact. Nobody's interacting with my stuff, so I probably haven't made any impact. That is not true. I cannot tell you how many times I have not had interactions on my post, but then when I go reach out to people, they know exactly what I'm about, they know exactly what I'm doing, and they love the stuff. So it's like, wow, 0 interaction does not mean 0 impact. People are voyeurs. They like to be in the know and not interact. So if you're not getting likes, you're not getting comments, does not mean people aren't seeing you, right? So what I want us to do instead is I want us to embrace an experimentation mindset, okay? You're not going to care about the number of likes and the number of comments. Instead, you're just going to care about how much stuff you're putting out there. And I want you to experiment, have fun, not edit yourself, not overthink it. Just enjoy your work. You love your work, and that's why you started doing it in the first place. So put it out there. Show people how much you love it. Show people how great it is to be on this side, right? And the more you experiment, the more posts you put out there, the more data you're going to collect to see how people are connecting with your content. Now, this is the first time I said data. We're going to talk about data a little bit more, because data is going to be the richness that tells you how people are interacting with you without them even interacting with you. So without them liking or commenting, okay? You're going to understand what they're doing from a back end perspective, okay? Now, I'm sure we've all heard this: success loves speed. And that's exactly what I will bestow upon you, because I think that is the biggest shortcoming of content creators today. We're not doing enough. We're not creating enough. We're not experimenting enough. So we're not learning enough about our target consumer. We know about our target consumer on paper. We might know about our target consumer offline. But when it comes to the online space, we perform a little differently. We engage a little differently. So what do we need to learn about them on there? You need to experiment to find out. Okay. So we got June asking a question. How do you keep up with the comments? I am getting so many. It is hard to reply to all with some real content. First of all, that is an amazing problem to have. June, like, big round of applause, because that's fantastic. Now, you don't have to reply to every single comment. Okay. If you are getting so many, I think it's a very nice intention to want to reply to everybody. And if you can, please do. But reply to the people in a way that you can pin posts, right? You can pin some comments. So for the comments that are adding true value, hopefully you've done a values exercise for yourself and you know what values are important for your business. So people who are asking comments, say it's a frequently asked question, that's a perfect thing to pin so that anyone else who has the same question can see that. Or if they're asking something that's value-based, something that you want to highlight, reply to that. And for the rest of them, you can just heart it, right? You can just double tap, heart it, and that's more than sufficient. People are not expecting you to reply. And let your community engage with each other as well, right? Allow them to have that dialogue with each other. So I would say don't put pressure on yourself for not replying to every comment. Do your best to reply to the best comments. Hopefully that answers your question, okay? Okay, so how do you start to draw conclusions? You got to increase your sample size, okay? If you're starting to draw conclusions based on 100 people who saw your stuff and 85 of them skipped it, so you're now going to make a conclusion that people don't like it. That is not necessarily the right conclusion, okay? You want to start making conclusions after you've reached hundreds of people, not just 100 people. So you want to increase your sample size so that then you can start to make better informed conclusions and not start to tweak your content to what people want to see. What do you want to put out? And then eventually you will understand how people want to consume it. But first start with your intention and what you want to put out there, okay? And that stuff takes time to build, okay? So how do you increase your sample size? You have to increase the number of eyeballs that are looking at your stuff, okay? I want to say it in very simple language, because when you get into the online space, the terminology can be a little different across channels. Some channels call it unique viewers. Other channels call it reach. Other channels call it new accounts reached. So you want to make sure that you're getting the maximum number of eyeballs possible for your stuff. New eyeballs, not the same eyeballs. You don't want to hit the same people over and over again. You want to hit new people, okay? So maximum number of eyeballs. And this is why counts like follower counts, like counts, subscriber counts, they're not the right metrics. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say they are the wrong metrics to base your success on, because these do not show you anything about how somebody is actually engaging with your content, about whether or not your content is successful. Okay, so I want you to chase numbers, but not the wrong numbers. If you look at numbers like this, how many followers I have, how many likes I have, how many subscribers I have, and you're trying to like increase that, right? What's going to happen is you're going to start to do things like giveaways, 10K giveaway, right? And those are not necessarily bad, but now people are going to come to you because of the thing that you're giving away and not necessarily your product or service, okay? If you're giving away your product or service, fantastic. You could end up doing things like follow for follow. You could end up doing things like I comment on yours, you comment back. These are short-term strategies, which might boost you for a while, but they are not at all predicting your long-term success. So what do you do instead of these metrics? I want you to optimize reach, okay? You want to, after you get the number of eyeballs, the max number of eyeballs, then start to think about how are they saving my content? Are they commenting on my stuff? Comments are a very engaged user. So I think June was saying how she gets a lot of content, how she gets a lot of comments. That's a very engaged user. That's amazing, right? And then audience retention. Audience retention is something you can get on YouTube. You can get on IGTV, so Instagram TV. How are people watching your stuff and how are people engaging after you've optimized for reach? Okay, so we have a few comments. Let's look here. We get Debbie saying, okay, that's amazing. Yes, I will. Let's talk about it later. And then June, should it not be based more on engagements? So your comments, you mean, or just optimizing like what you're trying to optimize? If you want to optimize engagement, that means you already have really good awareness. So you're feeling great about your awareness, and now you're all about engagement, because engagement is a consideration metric, okay? Engagement is not an awareness metric. People who just find out about you are very less likely to engage with you. They're going to engage with you when they know a little bit about you, when they've seen you for a little bit, okay? They could engage with you right at first, and that would mean that they're a highly engaged individual. So that's totally possible, but not the average. Debbie, I have had a social media specialist tell me that I had to offer specials on my posts if I ever planned to grow. I disagreed. And I think your disagreement was absolutely correct, because that is a very short-term strategy. That social media specialist is looking to boost your numbers to show like, hey, 100% growth, 200% growth. And so that looks good on their resume. I don't think that's a good, healthy strategy for your business to grow in the long run. Doing stuff like that once in a while, like on Christmas, you can have a Christmas special, sure. But if you are now dependent on specials, your consumer is going to look at your stuff and be like, oh, so your real price is not your real price. Your real price is your special price. So I'm never going to buy your stuff on your real price. Like, what? That's a very unhealthy relationship to build with somebody, right? That first of all, decreases trust. Like, why are you pricing this at $9.99 if you're now going to sell it to me for $7.99? I'm going to buy it at $7.99, right? So big businesses like Shoppers Drug Mart, Loblaws, Walmart, they all are running on a special strategy, and that's a price strategy. It's very hard to compete on a pricing strategy. So I personally would say, don't do that. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that will tell you to do that. And that's the thing about marketing. There's no golden rule, okay? With my 6 years of corporate training and now being an entrepreneur, starting my own businesses, it's like, wow, there's no golden rule. There's a lot of different ways to flex your style. So you have to find what works for you, okay? Okay, amazing. Let's go next. So once you've optimized reach, you have to ask yourself, what channels do I want to be on? There are so many channels out there. You can be everywhere if you like. If you want to hire a full-time social media strategist, you absolutely can, or a manager who actually manages your stuff. I think that spreads yourself out way too thin and you might jeopardize your quality. Okay. So instead, I would say pick your top 3 channels. Top 3 channels. So what I've done is I spend most of my time on Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. So for those of you who have no idea what Twitch is, it's this guy right here. And basically, I host 5 to 6 workshops on Twitch. They're all for free and they're open to anybody in the world, like literally anybody in the world. You just need my link, which is amazing, right? And then on YouTube, I create smaller videos, which can be from the Twitch workshops or experiments that I do. I do stuff like 30-day meditation challenge, 30-day sleeping with tape on my mouth challenge, that kind of stuff on YouTube. And then on Instagram, it's more my everyday research and daily habits that I post on Instagram. So I have a really good content strategy, and it's not the same content everywhere. You don't want to duplicate your content everywhere. That is the laziest stuff that's happening on social media. Do not do that. Okay. You want to create content that's specific for that channel because people can see that you're not putting in the work and then they don't want to consume your stuff. So how do you pick which channels are right for you? Now, remember, optimizing reach is important. So if you're on Instagram, it's not that it's a bad channel to be on because it's saturated. It means within Instagram, how are you posting? So Instagram stories don't get a lot of reach, but Instagram reels get a lot more reach. So if you want to reach new people and if awareness is your game, how are you doing some reels? Are you putting reels out to get more people to see your stuff? Okay, so I'm going to share with you criteria of how to pick your top 3 channels. Ready? Here we go. We're going to go quick. Target consumer. Is your target consumer on the channel? Yes or no? Simple. Next, future potential of the channel. So TikTok, booming right now. If you want to get on it now. For me, Twitch, booming with gamers, but not booming with workshop content. I think Twitch is going to be big for the next 3 to 5 years, in the next 3 to 5 years. So I'm getting in early so that in 3 to 5 years, I'm golden, right? So what is the future potential of that channel? And are you interested in being there, in being a leader in that space? Resources required. This is your labor, your time invested, and your dollars invested, okay? So things like YouTube need a lot of resources. You need camera equipment. You need some sort of editing software. Then you need to actually go learn how to upload and set tags and create thumbnails. That could be a lot for someone who's Gen X. May not be a lot for someone who's Gen Z. That stuff is second nature to them. So are you willing to put the time required? Because sometimes some channels just need that. Okay. And then lastly, we have return on investment. So for the stuff that you're investing, are you getting the return? Are you getting the eyeballs in return? Or are you getting the conversion to your business in return? Okay. That's your criteria of how you pick. We have a question saying, what are reels? Very good question. So basically these are 30-second videos that Instagram has launched to compete with TikTok. And it's just another type of media content within Instagram. So within Instagram, you have stories, you have posts, you have IGTV, and now you also have reels. So yeah, it's just another way to create and post content. So if you just Google how to create an Instagram reel, you'll figure everything out about it. Okay, sweet. That's consideration. We had a lot. That was a lot. So let's talk about that was awareness. So let's talk about consideration. Okay. So the first thing I want to share with you about consideration is the hook, okay? You need to have some kind of compelling hook for people to latch onto, for people to get dragged in, right? Because consideration is them trying to build a relationship with you, right? You're now trying to get into conversation with them. So whatever you post, this hook has to have thumb stopping power. Remember, this is what people are doing, right? So how do you get them to stop that thumb and pay attention just for a little bit longer? Okay. Now, this is not clickbaity stuff. There is a lot of clickbaity stuff going out there, which is when the copy or the stuff that you write, copy is essentially your text. It's loosely or not connected at all to the content. So something like Kim Kardashian and Kanye West split, but then when you click it, it's just Kim Kardashian and Kanye like sharing a banana split. What? Clickbait. It's garbage, right? So when you do stuff like that, where you're just trying to get people to click on your stuff or just trying to get people to stay for a little longer, is you're going to lose trust. Okay. So I'm going to share with you 3 hook suggestions and ideas of how you can reel people in. Okay. First one, identify an audience. Okay. So this is a self-proclaimed identification. So if you start your post by saying, hey, dog lovers, what's the person reading going to do? Oh, I'm a dog lover. Yeah, what's up? Right? If you say something like Christmas shopping yet? ? And then you start typing, oh yeah, I'm Christmas shopping. Hey, what's up? So you're identifying an audience so that people can self-proclaim and be like, oh yeah, I'm part of that audience. Okay. They're automatically reeling in. They're getting reeled in. Okay. Another really interesting way to do this is if you ask a low engagement question like, are you a dog lover or a cat lover? People are going to want to have an opinion about this. It's very easy. They've already thought about it. It's easy now for them to engage on your stuff. Okay. Okay. Next up, newsworthy. So this is something that you could start with. The most embarrassing thing happened to me today. People want to know. Tell me more. What happened, right? Or if you say like, bling, bling, got me a new ring. Engagement posts are great. So if you're in the wedding industry, event planning industry, that kind of stuff is awesome. People love to hear newsworthy information. Now, it's important for you to be vulnerable so that then you create a space for people to be vulnerable with you. You cannot come in hot and ask, what is your biggest pet peeve? Here's mine. It's a lot for somebody to share their biggest pet peeve, right? So you can share your biggest pet peeve, but don't expect them to also share theirs. You can leave the space for that. You can ask them a kind of question like, do you agree? So their involvement is just yes or no. And now if they want to share more, they can. But if you ask them, what is your biggest pet peeve? I don't know if people want to do that on the internet. Okay. So think about the weight of the question and try to be a little chill on that. Okay. Third one we have for you is valuable information. This is where I live. So things like, how do you master your mind? I share daily habits for discipline. I share cold shower tactics. I share breathing tactics, how to breathe better for lower stress. That is where I live. So if you're going to be in the education space, go nuts with information. Okay. Okay. At the end of the day, whatever you post is going to be converted into code. And on the other end of that code is a robot, right? Is a bot taking all of your information in and giving you data back, which is why data is your best friend. When it comes to the online space, when it comes to understanding your marketing tactics, you really need to spend time in your analytics section. It's telling you a lot about how people are spending time with you. Get to know the analytics section. I am not a math person, okay? But analytics is the biggest answer to your questions online of what's happening with your content. Okay, this is a really cool strategy. You can do an A/B test. This is a very common thing that people do in market research or in psychology, where you only change one variable about your post. So same post, same 2 pictures, right? The copy is different. So one copy is Christmas shopping. This book needs to be on your list. Same post, same ideal day, same ideal time. So you're not changing too many variables and you're saying 10 out of 10, wow, hashtag mind blown. Which post gets more engagement? You're going to find out if you do an A/B test, right? So really cool tricks to figure out how people are interacting with your stuff. Okay. Okay. That's consideration. Let's get to conversion. Okay. I want to be wary of time. And I also want to give you guys enough time to share and network with each other. So conversion. When you see this picture, do you know what to do? Give me a quick Y for a yes or a quick N for a no. When you see this, do you know what to do? Yeah, you press the button. Press me, right? So I'm not asking you to do this online because it's the big red button. It's overdone. It's very clickbaity, right? It's kind of spammy. But this is what we called a call to action. You're telling people exactly what to do. Press me. Okay. People are kind of zombies on the phone, right? Think about yourself. When you're on the phone, you're either distracted, you're bored, or you're doing something else, but you kind of want to multitask. So you've got your phone and you got your thumb scrolling, right? So that's a call to action. If you are simple, you need to be able to break through that zombie mind in a way, that mindless scrolling mind, and you need to tell them exactly what to do. Because if you do this, where you say like, subscribe, share with a friend, or donate, share, comment, whoa, I'm overwhelmed. I'm either going to do neither because I'm overwhelmed, or I'm only going to do one. So for you to be specific and have a very strong conversion rate, you want to have only one call to action. Okay, something like, please like to support, or please click the link to donate, or your support means the world to me. Please share this with one friend. Fantastic, fantastic. Those are specific call to actions. They're single-minded and you're only giving them one. Okay, so let's summarize. What are your questions that you need to ask at every single stage? For awareness, where can I get the most eyeballs? For consideration, what is my compelling hook? What's going to grab people's attention? What's going to grab them in? Conversion. Is the call to action clear? And then just for overall marketing strategies, am I providing value? If you're out online in the real world, in the business space, and you are providing value, I promise you people will want to interact with your stuff. It's hands down guaranteed. Okay. Okay. And lastly, retention and loyalty. What do? You're consistent. Be as consistent as possible. Let's see what consistent stands for. It's the achievement of the level of performance that does not vary greatly in quality over time. So remember how we said success loves speed? You cannot jeopardize your quality just because you're going fast. Okay. So you don't have to do 100% quality. Don't try to be a perfectionist, but maybe 80% quality, but you're going fast. You're going with speed and you're putting stuff out there and you're learning as much as you can. Okay. The last thing I will leave you with is this link. This is my call to action for you, and this is me offering you valuable information. If you go on here, basically what you will see is a bunch of free tools, okay? And you have a giant checklist. It's called a Be Clear checklist, and it shows you all of the best practices for when you're posting, and you can kind of go through and be like, did I do this? Did I do that? They're all idea starters for you, so it'll help you when you are creating your own posts online. Okay. Okay. So I would love for you guys to unmute yourselves now. Feel free to ask questions. Let's chat. And we have a question here, so I'm going to get to it right now, Sarah. But these are my other links if you're interested. So Twitch is where I host workshops 5 to 6 times a week. Instagram, like I said, daily stuff. And then the YouTube is like the nice storytelling aspect of it, where short videos. So we have, thank you. That's awesome. Sarah, would you spread out your A/B test so audience isn't seeing the content twice back to back? Honestly, it depends on how big your audience is. Chances are most people are not going to see the same thing, or they're not going to remember, or they're going to see that and be like, oh, wow, I got served that twice. They're not even going to care. It's not even going to be on their mind for more than 2 seconds, more than a second. So that's really you having a conversation with yourself, right? We do this a lot where we second guess ourselves. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. Post it right next to each other if you want to. It doesn't matter. Just get it out there. If you have a really large audience, like say you have 10,000 people following you, look at your post and you can see how many people it's reaching. Chances are it's not reaching all 10,000 people. Okay. It's reaching less than that, much less than that. So if you post it, then you can actually now see how many people one particular post is doing, because the algorithm is also pushing certain posts at different times. So don't overthink it. Just get it out there. Allison, thank you for this workshop. I appreciate the timeliness of the content. I learned from this. Amazing. June, this is going to be very helpful. Having to check the list. Great. Fantastic presentation. Informative, interactive, and engaging. Thank you. So great. You guys can unmute yourselves. You know that, right? So that I can hear your voices. But thank you. I'm glad you guys liked it. Please, now I want us to be able to chat with each other a little bit, and let's maybe, okay, how about this? If you don't have questions for me, I'll ask you a question. What is the one thing you're going to implement from this workshop? What's the one thing you're going to do? And I'll stop sharing here so that we can see everybody.
I think the checklist for me.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's going to be very helpful when you are about to post. Feel free to talk out loud or chat, up to you. What's the one thing you're going to do?
So you suggested not putting the same post on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think it's just not, it's not the best way to go about it. It's okay. If you think about LinkedIn's audience, they're in a work mindset. They're a little bit more professional. They're not necessarily your friend. They're more like colleagues, right? So I would change the copy. I would change the copy to be a little bit more professional, or have a little bit more data, or be more informative in that way for LinkedIn. Okay, just because it's more of an online office professional space. But on Instagram, people are your friends, they're your buds. So talk to them like you would to somebody on a girls' night, right? Like, you want to have a much different vibe on Instagram. You cannot have the same vibe in two places. Like, your brand is your vibe, but the way that you speak and your copy should be different. If you're going to post the same pictures everywhere, you can totally do that. But I would say the least you can do is change your copy.
Okay. So the same could be on Instagram and Facebook since they're connected?
Yeah, if you want to do that.
Yeah, I find that I have different audiences on Facebook and Instagram. So I post on Instagram, have it go to Facebook, just getting going on LinkedIn. But Instagram, they're not my buds, so to speak. It's business contacts that I'm actually making on Instagram.
Okay. Well, the thing is, they're not your buds yet. So think about how they are using Instagram. They're not necessarily using Instagram as a business. You are, right? So for you to, you're showing up as, this is my business. I want to be professional on Instagram. They're not necessarily my buds. But for the people consuming, they're chill. They're at home wearing their sweatpants, laying on the couch. They're not necessarily looking for businesses to talk to them, right? They're looking for their friends to talk to them. So yes, you're not their friend yet, but that's not going to stop you from having friendly language. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I have a mixed demographic. It is businesses. I guess maybe with the kind of art that I'm doing, it is businesses.
Right. So you're talking to other businesses on Instagram.
Right. They're more small businesses like me, so they're doing their own posts kind of thing.
Got it.
I'm wondering how so I did a phone call, cold call. The person ended up buying a piece of art. They shared it on their social media feed, which resulted in what do you call a snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
But I made an actual physical phone call because I'm not in there. They weren't following me. So
yeah, and that is a great strategy.
Yeah.
Sorry, ask me that last question again.
Any suggestions on how to reach my target audience that aren't on my feed? They're not following me.
Yeah, calling them is great. Emailing them is great. Going to their stores is great. I think all of the old school sales tactics, those are like straight up sales tactics, right? They work. They absolutely work. But now when you do interact with them and if they do follow through with a conversion on the phone, you asking them as a process on your end, hey, I would love it if you could send me a photo. Would you mind if I share it? Actually, if you could share it on your channel, that would be even better. That would help me out a lot, right? And so now you have this built in as part of your process because you know if somebody posts on their Instagram, you are getting a snowball effect benefit out of it. So you need to incorporate these tactics into your business processes in that way. Mm-hmm. But I think what you're doing is great. We just need more volume.
More volume.
So that was really helpful. I think it was really informative. we did receive a few questions through the registration about different platforms or different tools that people could use to help them with sharing content, and if you have any suggestions about those.
Yeah, so my suggestion is whenever you pick a tool or whenever you pick a channel, you want to make sure that you're getting the most amount of eyeballs. So on Instagram, if you are on Instagram, you have to be using Instagram Reels. You just have to be. If you are trying to expand awareness, trying to get more people, you have to be on Reels. Okay. So there's just no excuses about it. If you're like, hey, I want to grow my business, use Reels. On something like for me, so let's go back to this. Let me just do it for myself, where I go into all the channels so that I can quickly tell you. Here. Perfect. Okay. So on Facebook and Instagram, you're not going to get that much organic reach. If you're going to pay for reach, you're going to end up paying a lot of dollars. It's just going to cost you more money. So instead, think about how you can be on Pinterest or TikTok, or you want to start to build that consistency so that now that channel is pushing your stuff forward. So really, I don't have quick hacks for you because there is no such thing. You have to be consistent. You have to be posting every day if you want to be in a growth sort of mindset and you want to be collecting new people. You have to be posting every day. You have to be thinking of yourself like a content creator so that you're getting the most amount of eyeballs on your stuff. Using hashtags is great. Certain hashtags work better than others. The only way for you to know which ones, experiment, try it out. There is no one size fits all. So yeah, like that's a very complicated question to answer because it's going to be different for everybody. And for me, like the thing that's working most for me is YouTube. It's not Instagram. It's not Twitch. It's after 1 year of consistently creating videos on YouTube, I'm now suddenly getting 200 views a day. That is not a lot for a larger channel, but for me, wow, that means so much for my business, right? So I'm investing a little less of my time on Instagram. I'm spending more of my time on YouTube. So you will be able to optimize that for yourself. The only number you should care about is how many eyeballs I'm getting.
Thanks.
And I don't know where the chat went, so I don't know if any one of you said anything else. Amazing. Thank you, Sarah.
I was just trying
If
to.
anyone else has any more questions, please type them in or unmute. We have a few more minutes before we end the session.
I was trying to type, but I didn't type fast enough. I was just looking up, the reels are videos, right?
Yep.
So my artwork is way more interesting than somebody looking at me on a video. So what would you have to suggest? I just don't want to be videoing me.
So take a video of the artwork.
I know, but it's just there.
You zoom in, go out, show us the textures, show us the brush strokes, maybe put that artwork and edit it. Like you could get people on Fiverr.com. So Fiverr.com. And you can get people to put that artwork into different spaces. You can just show us 10 images of that same artwork in different types of rooms and put a nice soundtrack on that. Wow. Fantastic content.
What's the name of that again?
Fiverr. I'll type it in the chat. So it's Fiverr.com. You definitely want to find people who have good reviews there, though. Don't just go for anybody. But yeah, we've got Banafshe saying, thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you for joining. And yeah, guys, like I do want to also extend, like if you don't have questions right now, but if you have questions while you are executing, because obviously you're going to have more questions when you actually do it, right? Please feel free to reach out. I am more than happy to help you. And I do not charge for that help. So don't hesitate at all. So I'm going to put my email in here in case you do have any questions. Okay. There you go. Awesome.
Great. Thank you so much, Shin.
Of course.
It was so wonderful, very informative, and we hope to have you back, hopefully.
That would be great.
Webinar. And I wanted to thank everyone who did sign on for this webinar. Thanks so much. And I hope that you will stay connected with us and feel free to contact us about any of your projects, or if you're looking for any other webinars to join, send us your ideas. So thanks so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day and weekend coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right.
Bye, everyone.
Right.